Hi, everybody. I want to make 2 or 3 videos about different things before I forget. Also, because we're about to start another week, so I want my mind to be clear so I can remember all the stuff I have to remember within the week. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do is do my thoughts on Donald Adelson's case so far. Now, I did a couple of short videos about all the witnesses we've had on the stand so far. Now, we've only had one day of trial, so the list is kind of short as of yet, but it's going to get longer and longer. Okay. So the way I think of what I do as analyzing trials. I try to keep the emotion out of it, and I try to just look at all the different things. I look at wardrobe, I look at body language, I listen to language when possible, all the things. And I feel like I use everything I've learned over the last 5 years, give or take, in these analysis. So, okay, let's start with wardrobe. Donald Adelson is around 75 years old. The reason I know that is because the crime happened 11 years ago, and everybody said she was 64 at the time. So I did the math, 75. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is wardrobe. Now, I've noticed in the last 2 years or 3, however long I've been doing trials for, that if you're a little on the younger side, they try to make you look like either a schoolgirl or a preppy boy, depending on who the defendant is. Okay, I'll give some examples. Okay. First person that comes to mind is Shanda Vanda Ark. Okay, now to give you a brief synopsis of that case, she was accused, I can say now accused of, despicable crimes against her own child. But I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about wardrobe. Okay, they had her hair in pigtails, I swear. Okay, and then the outfit made her look like she was as innocent as possible as she could look. Okay, now take the information I just gave you. Now, Donald Adelson, they tried to make her look like sweet grandma who wouldn't hurt a fly. Okay, so she was dressed in like a top of some sort, but then a cardigan over the top, and then glasses, and she just tried to come off as the most innocent person, right? Okay. Which is really ironic given what she's charged with, but anyway, I'll get to that. Okay. So then we look at, and then also the prosecution is really good in this case, and just for informational purposes for anybody who watches this, I don't try to take sides, either the prosecution or the defense. Okay, I don't take sides. I just notice as I go along, and I go, oh, that's good, oh, that's bad, kind of thing. And it could be for either side. So the prosecuting attorney, or one of them, because apparently there are 2 on this case. The one who did the opening statement was really good, and she kept it to the point, and she gave you enough information so that you would know what you're dealing with, but not too much. Whereas in the defense opening, okay, now the word defense alone should tell you what they're trying to do. Okay, they're trying to defend their client being accused of the crime, right? Okay, well, their opening was really strange. Really strange. Um, she sounded, now this is my opinion and my viewpoint, okay? But she sounded a little too familiar with the victim because she says, as part of her opening, which is rather short, by the way, she says, well, everyone refers to him as Danny, but I don't take that as, please don't take it as disrespect. And I'm like, his name is Daniel, maybe Dan, but your position, you should call him Mr. Markel, you know, not Danny. It's just, it was too much. Okay. And then um, she was like really too compassionate toward the victim, meaning, I can't believe someone took away Danny from his family and stuff. And I'm like, okay, did you forget what side you're on? You're on the defense. You're trying to defend the woman, okay? You're not trying to convict her or something. Hello. It was just odd. Oh, okay. So then they say that after those, the judge says, uh, "Are you ready to proceed with your first witness?" And the prosecution says yes. So we start with the witnesses. And I talked about everyone except for the last one because literally it happened at the end of the day. Okay, so the last witness was apparently a co-conspirator, um, Luis Riviera. And he talked about the other co-conspirator who was in the car with him. Also, I learned a name that I was not familiar with, although I had heard it a couple times, but I found the connection of who she is in the whole thing. Okay, so the woman's name is Catherine Banoa, and I had heard it before, but I didn't know who she was. Turns out she's one of Charlie Adelson's ex-girlfriends and the only one with connections that would be, let's say, helpful in this situation. And by the way, Charlie Adelson and Catherine and the other one that was in the getaway car are all convicted of their crimes. Okay. Um, and this is not new. This is not new news, so I'm not speaking out of turn. Okay. So that was interesting. Then we come to the part that was really funny. And like I said before, I'm not trying to look for funny, really, because a crime was committed, someone lost their life, all the things, right? So I'm really emotional and really, you know, heartbroken for the victim and the family and everything else. But when I find the light moment, I find a light moment and I do enjoy it. Okay, so what happened was the jury was out for lunch. And so they took up some matters while the jury was at lunch, right? But then the matters took too long, like way too long. And the judge, okay, so the judge is supposed to be on the bench, right? The judge stands up, cracks his knuckles, and looks at both sides like, you are wasting my time and I do not like you for it. But like the most intense look you've ever okay, everyone is calling it the disappointed dad look. So anybody who is a child or has children, you might know what that looks like. Imagine that look on a judge. Yeah, that was the look. but it was so out of character for the moment that I was just like, oh my God, am I really seeing this? And then it was like, yep, it's really happening. And I did break. I broke up for 2 minutes, and then I was like, okay, but yeah. Okay. Let's see. Other than that, the most credible witness, as for the first day, would be the last one, because not to say the other ones were credible too, but he was just like, I don't care. I'm just gonna tell you the truth because I got nothing to lose, kind of thing. So that was interesting. Okay, I think that's it. All right. Okay, everybody, join me starting tomorrow again. We're gonna be day 2. Uh, so I don't know how fast the witnesses are gonna go through, but we're on the case now. So all right, I guess.